Do you ever feel overwhelmed by the ever-changing world of technology? Tech It Out can help make some sense of it all. Breaking down geek speak into street speak, technology columnist, author, and TV personality Mark Saltzman covers consumer technology each week for every listener. Mark tackles the latest news, reviews, and how-tos to help you understand what's hot, what's not, and why.
Hey everyone, welcome to Tech It Out. This is episode 169. I know it's a super busy time, so I appreciate you tuning in, whether you're listening on your local radio or in podcast form. You know, there is a lot going on. It's kind of important election coming up on November 3rd, and probably lots of other things going on in your life, no doubt. And that includes some major stress. So we're going to chat this hour with MindValley. They have an educational platform designed to inspire you and help you focus on all the positives that life brings in and not what 2020 dumped on us. I'll also share some smart home tech ideas this hour as we're spending a lot more time indoors. We'll also learn about the top brands in the US with BrandSpark in a moment from now, and that includes the top online retailer in the country and the best mobile carrier. Can you think of what they may be? And finally, we'll catch up with Jam this hour to hear about their latest Bluetooth speakers that have a very retro look to them. They kind of look like 1950s-esque radios. So we're going to learn all about these affordable but great sounding Bluetooth speakers. All of this and more on an all-new Tech It Out, powered by ASUS, which I'll tell you more about shortly, but let's kick off the show. Each year, leading market research firm BrandSpark International surveys over 10,000 North American consumers in order to discover what brands they trust the most. It's the annual BrandSpark Most Trusted Awards, created to help people shop smarter. Joining us to tell us what has topped this year's list and if the pandemic has influenced the results in any way, we've got Robert Levy on the line. He's the founder and president of BrandSpark. Welcome back to the show, Robert.
Thanks, Mark.
Before we talk about your findings for 2020, tell us a bit about BrandSpark.
Sure. Well, the consumer is at the core of everything we do, Mark. We do consumer research, consumer reviews on products, etc. And we've been surveying brand trust with consumers for the past 8 years. And we've really interacted with literally hundreds of thousands of consumers to find out what brands they trust the most.
Okay, so with that in mind, you recently commissioned a survey to find the most trusted service, apps, and online stores in America. How did you set out to find this exactly?
It's actually a unique way of collecting this information because we conduct a nationally representative survey with shoppers across the country, and we find out from them in their own words what brands they trust the most in categories that they shop. So it's a completely open-ended, unaided survey, and then we code literally thousands and thousands of responses to see what brands come out on top.
I read that you surveyed over 10,000 shoppers. Is that right?
That's correct. For this survey, it was over 10,000 shoppers.
All right. So without further ado, Robert, what were the top findings this year?
So we have a lot of, we've got 84 different winners to go through. So I'll just talk about some of the surprises. So we were surprised, for example, that Zoom came out so dominant on the video conferencing side. Not really that surprised about Disney Plus coming out for streaming, but given the need for video conferencing during the pandemic, we put that in as a category. There were so many different competitors, and yet Zoom came out from the consumer trust perspective anyways, way ahead, one of the strongest brands on the survey, actually a 60% margin over the next closest rival.
Oh, wow. Especially given the fact that Zoom had some privacy and security problems when they became very popular during the pandemic with Zoom bombing and the like. But to their credit, they quickly addressed a lot of those issues. So I guess they were not able to impact consumer trust, which is good for them. You also look at online stores as well. I'm assuming Amazon came out on top?
Yeah, Amazon came out, as expected on top of a lot of categories. But I think what we did notice this year is a trend that there were a number of specialty retailers who were able to actually either tie them or beat them. And so I think there's a lot of specialty retailers that are now gaining share. And basically, they've closed the gap. I mean, Amazon set the bar, free delivery, convenience, and really great tracking. And a lot of these brands like Chewy in pet food and supplies, Ulta in cosmetics, Staples, Tide for office supplies are really closing the bar and leveling the playing field and letting consumers kind of go where there's perhaps more specialty or more product experience or range, but not at the expense of either price or convenience.
Oh, okay. Interesting. So you looked at services like Disney Plus, you looked at online stores such as Amazon and others. Funny because both Zoom and Amazon are something that we probably used a lot of during COVID, right? From A to Z, if you will. How much of these trust findings that you were looking for were tied to the pandemic in some way, do you think?
So I think a lot of them were, and we definitely saw some categories and some brands gain trust or lose trust. And I think they really were looking at how the retailers online and offline were handling the pandemic. And so some of the driving factors in losing trust were actually not surprisingly delayed deliveries, perception of price increases. So if you remember, there was some buzz around retailers raising prices or even limiting promotions that shoppers were used to. And this really impacted trust. And finally, seeing retailers as not supporting their workers, which really showed that there was solidarity between consumers and the retailers and stores that they were interacting with. So there was definitely some shifts, definitely some impact, and some opportunities for brands to strengthen their trust because, again, there's a lot of brand switching and a lot of trial because of shortages, et cetera. So even if brands were trusted, they really couldn't take it for granted because their customers were all of a sudden forced to try other brands, and they need to kind of work hard to get them to come back or hold on to them if they were able to acquire new customers.
We're chatting about the 2020 BrandSpark Most Trusted Awards, just unveiled by BrandSpark International. They surveyed more than 10,000 North American consumers to discover what brands they trust the most. We're joined by Robert Levy, founder and president of BrandSpark. What are some of the other gold winners? I know you said there was over 80 different categories, but maybe some other highlights or some surprises.
Yeah, I thought I would share some of the ones that your audience might be interested in, what they would be potentially, using more of or curious about while they were at home. So, for example, the most trusted weight loss program, which has really become online now, is Weight Watchers, or WW, as they now refer to themselves. The most trusted food delivery app, DoorDash. Most trusted children's learning app, which might be, of course, interesting for parents, ABC Mouse. People are at home, so they're looking to perhaps do some renovations or need some things fixed. The most trusted home professional hiring app, for example, is Home Advisor. Again, people sometimes are using the opportunity now to learn a new language. So we track the most trusted language learning app, which was Duolingo. And so, again, there's a lot of different areas that we're tracking the most trusted music streaming services. Still Spotify. Pandora's in second. Amazon Music's actually in third. I was actually surprised to see that they beat out Apple Music, which is actually in fourth place. So Spotify has been able to hold on to their lead, even though there's a lot of competition. And finally, if people are trying to do some printing, the site for printing services is Vistaprint. There's a lot of information that we think can help consumers understand what other consumers, what brands they trust the most.
Just as we wrap up, Robert, what about mobile phone providers? What carrier came out on top?
The most trusted cellular service provider is actually Verizon, ahead of AT&T. And the most trusted discount cellular service provider is TracFone, ahead of Consumer Cellular, but it's a much tighter race than the cellular service provider.
Interesting. All right. Thanks so much, Robert. Where could our listeners learn more about BrandSpark's Most Trusted? Is there a website where we can see a complete list?
Absolutely. They can go to BrandSparkMostTrusted.com and see the full list, not only of the gold winners, but also our silver and bronze winners. So BrandSparkMostTrusted.com.
Okay, BrandSparkMostTrusted.com. Robert Levy, thank you so much for your time.
Thanks, Mark. It's a pleasure.
And speaking of most trusted, I want to thank our sponsor, ASUS. This show is powered by ASUS. For those in search of incredible, it's the company that creates technology for today and tomorrow's smart life. And that includes its line of award-winning laptops and desktops, monitors, smartphones, smartwatches, tablets, and much more. For those in search of incredible, visit asus.com/US/radio for more info. That's asus.com/US/radio. 1 week from now on Tech It Out, we'll sit down with ASUS to chat about their business grade laptops called Expert Books. So we're going to hear all about them, as well as Expert Center, which is more of a desktop than a portable laptop, but it's still very small in size, has a lot of power under the hood, tons of connectivity options. So we're going to learn all about that. It's funny, I just said connectivity options. Sometimes I say connectivity. Sometimes I say connectivity. I just shot a video for Costco and it runs on the TVs in their warehouses across the country. And the director of photography stopped recording and he said, you've been saying connectivity. Is that like the right way to say it? And I'm like, I don't know. I think it is, or connectivity, connectivity, whatever. But I digress. We have a lot more coming up on Tech It Out this hour. As I mentioned earlier in the program, I'll talk about some smart home tech this hour. We'll learn about affordable Bluetooth speakers that look like retro radios. They could be a great gadget gift this holiday season. And MindValley will join us after this short break. This is an online educational and also spiritual platform that is designed to really help us when we need it the most, i.e. now. Actually, I did read something funny last week if you missed this. With the clocks falling back this weekend, I read that Norway's Minister of Trade and Industry, who's responsible for implementing the time change in Norway, actually apologized about daylight saving time as it's adding another hour to this most awful year. Very, very funny. Yes, I know it's technically not adding an hour. I know it's not an hour longer. We're simply getting back the hour that we missed when we sprang forward back in the spring, but a funny apology nonetheless. All right, as I mentioned, when we return, we're going to learn about MindValley, and we've got a lot more Tech It Out. I'm also going to tell you about slick deals and how to save money on your purchases ahead of Black Friday, Cyber Monday, and well into the holidays and beyond. So we'll tell you more about slick deals. Stick with us. A lot more Tech It Out coming up after this.
Listen to Tech It Out whenever you want. Find the Tech It Out podcast at iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts.
Welcome back to Tech It Out, everyone. As you may or may not know, I've partnered with Slick Deals, the largest social platform for scoring deals at retail and online. And I'm thrilled about this new partnership on Tech It Out between now and the end of the year. After all, who doesn't love saving money on your purchases, especially with the year that we've had? Why would you pay more than you need to? And it's never been easier with Slick Deals in a few ways. If you haven't yet checked out the website and bookmarked it, I encourage you to do so. It's slickdeals.net. There's also an app and a browser extension for Chrome, Edge, and Firefox. So here's how Slick Deals works. It's a community-driven platform, as I mentioned. So when somebody spots a deal, like, hey, there's a sale on a Samsung TV or an Asus Republic of Gamers laptop, they post it there and other people vet it and it gets voted up. And if it's a hot deal, it could make it to the front page and you may not have a lot of time in order to snag that deal. So even more important, to install the free Slick Deals browser extension, where you can get early access to Slick Deals' best of web deals as vetted and voted on by its community of more than 12 million users. No more hunting for coupon codes, as this Slick Deals browser extension automatically finds and applies the best codes when you check out, all to save you money on purchases. You can access exclusive coupons from hundreds and hundreds of stores, set up a deal alert on something you've got your eye on from anywhere on the web, and a lot more with this free Slick Deals browser extension for Chrome, Edge, and Firefox. So if you've got one of those three browsers, you should install this free extension. Here's how to do it. One website to do it all. It's slickdeals.net/radio. That's slickdeals.net/radio to install the free Slick Deals browser extension to save money today. All right, let's continue on with the show with our next interview. Between pandemic health concerns, finances, and perhaps stress over the election, it's been a very tough year. But guess what? Technology may be able to help us get through this rough patch. From staying connected with relatives and friends over video calling, to apps that can help you manage your finances, to mindfulness and meditation platforms, this all could have been a lot worse if it happened in, say, 1980, opposed to 2020. And joining us on the line to chat about easing anxiety during these tense times is MindValley founder Vishen Lakhiani. Welcome to the show, Vishen.
Hi, Mark. Pleasure to be here.
Before we talk about MindValley, please tell us a bit about the anxiety that many are feeling today and why. I mean, obviously, I touched on that in my introduction, but I think there's a couple of major things that happened this year that are all contributing to our anxieties, perhaps.
Well, it's interesting because, yes, 2020 has been a total mashup of basically everything that gets us worried. There's the pandemic, there's political instability, there's climate change, there's the raging wildfires in California. It seems like Mother Nature is just messing with us. Now, one of the unique things about the human brain, Mark, is that, remember, we evolved about 100,000 years ago from hunter-gatherer societies. And one of the things is that our human brain is acutely perceptive of threat, right? So because 100,000 years ago, there were threats all around us. There were wild animals that might gobble up our human ancestors. And so what happens is that when we perceive threat, when we perceive any situation where we don't feel safe, the body releases chemicals such as adrenaline. And there's a form of adrenaline that goes into the brain. It's called norepinephrine. Now, norepinephrine makes you highly alert. It makes you highly perceptive of anything that could threaten you, except that the norepinephrine is being activated in your head when you're at home on your computer. There is no threat. There is no wild animal that might jump on you, but it's in your system anyway. And here's the effect. According to Stephen Kotler, who's one of our authors at MindValley, it makes you unable to focus. It makes you feel overwhelmed. And so, yes, there is a pandemic going on. Yes, there is economic recession. But the fact is, we've been in these situations before. There was a huge pandemic, the Hong Kong flu in 1968. We got over that. It killed over 1 million people. There was an economic recession after September 11 when the dot-com bubble burst. We got over that. But what is happening is, because of these brain chemicals being released in our heads, we are feeling an unnecessary fear. Now again, the fear is real. However, the side effects of that fear, overwhelm, lack of focus, this could have a hugely negative effect on how we show up in our lives, in our relationships, in our marriage, in our work. But the interesting thing is this: once you train yourself to understand that you're going to be okay, that once you mentally tell yourself and you train yourself to understand that you're primarily safe and that things have been like this before and you got over it and civilization got over it, the focus comes back. The overwhelm disappears, and you start being able to go back to normal life. But you got to learn to understand your brain chemistry and to know how to, with love, speak to your brain to let it know that you're okay.
Okay, fascinating, Vishen. So with that in mind, we've talked about the problem. Let's talk about the solution. What is MindValley all about?
So MindValley is about giving people the education that modern education has forgotten to teach us. Like, we went to university to get a degree, a piece of paper that somehow seems to say that we are worthy of a job. But that's not enough in the world today. I mean, if anything, the stuff that truly matters, that truly leads to human fulfillment, is so much more than what we learn in education. It's about taking care of our health. It's about peace of mind. It's about being able to use our spiritual gifts. It's about being a conscious parent, being in healthy relationships, taking care of our body, our longevity, self-love, self-esteem. Education teaches you none of that. So what MindValley is doing is we find the very best teacher in the world for each of these subject matters, and we build the best education program in every single one of this complete curriculum of being the best damn human being you can be.
On how they do that, we'll return with MindValley in a moment. Stay with us on Tech It Out.
Want to follow Mark? Google him. Mark with a C and Saltzman with a Z. Breaking down geek speak into street speak. This is Tech It Out. Tech It Out with technology columnist, author, and TV personality Mark Saltzman.
Welcome back to Tech It Out, everyone. We're chatting with MindValley founder Vishen Lakhiani about how the online education platform works, who it's designed for. We started to get into the discussion before the break, so let's continue. Vishen, you were starting to explain how you go about inspiring and educating your users. Please continue.
Now, how we do it is through a unique technological platform called MindValley Quest that makes the learning as fascinating and interesting as a computer game. So even if you aren't usually the type of person who completes a program, you complete MindValley. And every day there are these tiny shifts that happen that make you better and better and better. Now, that's just the first part. The other part about education is that if you think about your university life, And I ask people, what's your favorite memory from university life? And it's never, oh, I remember that time I was in Professor Tom's classroom and I took that incredible set of notes. It's always the friendship, the dating, falling in love. It's always human connection. So the other thing that MindValley is doing is we're building a digital campus globally, connecting all our students. And our students are like the best people on the planet. They're people who just love growing, contributing, being their best selves. We're connecting all of these students so that you never, ever, ever, ever feel alone again.
And how are you reaching your students, if you will? Is it through an app? Is it a website? Is it virtual reality? Talk to us about the interface.
It's everything. It's everything from an app to its MindValley home. Everything is on mindvalley.com. But actually, MindValley is a collection of 4 different apps. Mm-hmm. There is an app that teaches you where all the learnings are deployed. There's an app for human connection. And that app is evolving very fast. And soon it's going to be able to predict the person in your city in, say, a 10-mile radius that you will have the best probability of being close friends with. We want to create friendships and serendipity and discovery in cities around the world. There's an app for allowing you to explore altered states of mind, because a lot of learning happens at the subconscious level. And finally, there's a new app we are building which allows you to subscribe to someone's brain. This means as you learn, your family learns with you, or your friends learn with you, or your company learns with you. It's really some cutting-edge technology. And then there's an AI that connects everything and ensures that every day, in every way, you're getting better, better, and better.
So I was way off. I thought MindValley was a mindfulness and meditation platform like Calm or Simple Habit or 10% Happier, one of these guided breaks throughout the day with video exercises. So that's not the case per se.
No, we are so much bigger. It
sounds more comprehensive.
Yeah. MindValley's goal is this. 5 years from now, MindValley will be able to provide you a greater edge in life than a Harvard or a Stanford degree. And we'll be able to do it for just $2 a day. That's where we're going with this.
We're chatting with Vishen Lakhiani. He is the founder of MindValley. Is it fair to call it an education and spiritual platform?
MindValley is an education company that's making human transformation a way of life.
How would you recommend our listeners get going? What's the sort of call to action?
Just go to mindvalley.com and try it out.
And when you say it's as low as $2 a day, is this where you're at now? And is this part of the programs or all of them collectively?
Oh, this is everything. Yeah, it's called MindValley All Access. Everything is unlocked. It's like enrolling in a university for life, but we do it but we provide so much at such a low cost. That's really the competitive edge here. And we're doing it with the leading technology in the world right now for education.
Which is what? And I'd like to know, also how interactive it is. Is it something you just follow along, or is
it's something you follow along, but it's the intersection of these 4 apps. As I mentioned, the 4th app is coming. It's something you follow along. You choose how you want to grow. So for example, let's say you want to improve your speed reading. You want to learn speed reading. In 3 weeks, in thousands of trials, we've been able to increase reading speed by 270% across the board. In 3 weeks, in roughly 15 minutes a day for 3 weeks. If you do the math, that's not much at all. 15 minutes a day for 3 weeks, and you're now reading 3 times as many books. I mean, that's just one example. We have similar programs. We call them Quest, because you're going on a journey that transforms you for good. We have quests for improving your marriage, quests for improving your body shape, quests for increasing your intelligence. That can happen too through memory and cognition training, quests for improving your sleep so you can get off sleep medication. We have quests for anything that improves the human experience.
Right. Because I can imagine it's not a one-size-fits-all scenario. Someone may have a perfectly healthy and happy marriage, so that's not a program that they would want to invest in, but they may want to improve their reading or their mental acuity or what have you. So
Exactly. And even if you just do 1 quest a year, and most people will do 3 or 4 a year, even if you just do 1 a year, it transforms your life in such a radical way. And true transformation, Mark, is irreversible. It's a perspective shift, a shift in your beliefs and your habits. You can never go back to who you were before. You permanently show up and see the world in a different way. And all of us have this spark in us, have this ability to unlock our best selves, to remove all blocks. But most people give up. Most people stagnate. MindValley people don't. And once you transform one area of your life, for example, learning to read 3 times faster, once you transform that one area, your belief in yourself grows, and now you can't stop. So we'll see people learn to speed read, and then a month later, they've completely changed their body shape and they've reversed obesity. And then a month later, they've completely improved their dating life. And a month later, they are acing it at work because their productivity has gone through the roof because they're now accessing flow states. That's how it works.
So MindValley.com is the best place to start. And then you can choose from there how you want to interface, what you want to improve about yourself.
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay. All right, Vishen, good to chat with you. Be well. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark.
You're listening to Tech It Out on the Radio American Network. When we return on the program, we're going to learn about Jam's retro speakers. Yes, they are Bluetooth speakers, but they look like radios from the 50s. And they won't break the bank. So we'll learn about that. And then the last block on today's program will be just me chatting about smart home innovation, some products that I showed on TV last week. And that includes a water sensor that can alert you if there's a frozen pipe or a cracked pipe or someone left the water running, a deadbolt for your front door that gives you several ways to get inside, including an app or your voice. We'll learn about smart lighting for as low as $20 with millions of colors to choose from, those lighting strips that you can place around your home, or the A19 bulbs that you can use an app or your voice to control. We'll talk about cellular boosters, how to get better reception at home or at a summer home. If you're trying to work from home, it can be embarrassing if calls are poor. So all of that and more on Tech It Out coming up, powered by ASUS. For those in search of incredible, ASUS creates technology for today and tomorrow's smart life. Visit asus.com/US/radio for more info. That's asus.com/US/radio. We will speak with ASUS next weekend on this program to hear all about their business laptops. We'll be right back with more Tech It Out.
Breaking down geek speak into street speak. Tech It Out, hosted by Mark Saltzman.
Welcome back, everyone. You're listening to Tech It Out. Despite what you might think, cool technology doesn't have to break the bank. There's a trio of new Jam-branded Bluetooth speakers with a very unique and retro look that start at only $29. Joining us on the line to chat all about it is David Vitale. He's the spokesperson for Jam. Welcome back to the show, David. Good to chat with you.
Hi, Mark. Great to be back.
Now, before we go all retro on these new speakers, tell us a bit about the Jam brand. I'm sure a lot of our listeners already are familiar with it, but maybe give us a brief overview.
Sure. Jam is really about music first. It's about being different, making technology fun and affordable for everyone. You'll see all of our products are always very playful and colorful. This retro series is really no different.
Right. I remember, just speaking of fun and colorful, the Jamojis, which were like a Jam branded speaker in the shape of emojis. So like a funny face or even a pile of poo. Yep, I said it. But they were Bluetooth speakers. So that was a lot of fun. That was popular. What was it, last year or the year before?
Been at least 2 years, but yes, you're right. Absolutely.
Yep. Awesome. Okay. So at a high level now, there are a trio of new Bluetooth speakers called the Retro family. Tell us about them.
Sure. I mean, we've seen, throughout our assortment, there's strong consumer trends for products and technologies that really are influenced from the past. You can see the resurgence of vinyl and record players be an excellent example of this. So we really wanted to design a product that kind of stood out in a very crowded black blah speaker market by featuring yesterday's looks with today's technologies. This was really the inspiration for the Retro series, is to combine today's tech and performance, all while being easily recognizable, interesting, fun, and of course, always affordable.
Okay, so all three of these new Bluetooth or wireless speakers have a retro look to them. We'll discuss the differences between the three different speakers, but what are some of the key features between all these? Let's start with the design. They look like an old radio that we would have in our homes to listen to, like War of the Worlds or Abbott and Costello, right? I mean, we're going back with this style, but they're anything but retro under the hood.
That's right. You're absolutely right. I mean, that was the inspiration, is really to draw on the 50s and 60s time frame. But of course, all three models are portable, they're rechargeable, and they can even be used as a speakerphone, which, might be helpful for some of us working from home nowadays. All three models also feature Pair 2 with 33 feet of Bluetooth range. So this allows users to connect either two retro speakers at the same time in the same room for bigger sound,
right,
or even to connect the same sound in multiple rooms.
Okay.
So again, adding today's tech with yesterday's look.
Yeah, I like that. And then speaking of yesterday's look, and by the way, the radio shows like even earlier than that, they were like in the 40s. But anyhow, the dial on these retro looking radios, that actually lights up as well, right? It looks like an old radio dial, but it lights up.
Yes, on our vintage model, which is our most premium in the lineup, which gets 16 hours of playback. The backlit dials, it mimics an old dial-like radio for sure. But there's two other models.
Thanks for the clarification, David. With that in mind, why don't we now break down the differences between these three new retro branded radios from Jam? One is called Radio Classic, and that's the entry-level price point. One is Retro Classic Plus, and then the Retro Vintage, which is the largest and loudest of the three, and with the light-up dial, as I mentioned as well. So are these sort of like a good, better, best scenario?
They're just choices of playback time, footprint, and size of sound. But they all generally, they offer a minimum 10 hours and go all the way up to 16 hours of playtime. Again, different sizes and price points for different consumers.
Okay. Retro Classic Plus is slightly larger and has bigger sound and better battery life. And then the top of the line of this retro family is Retro Vintage, and that's the largest of the radio. But we're still only talking about the size of, say, a football at most. And
correct.
Is that fair? This is radio, so I'm trying to think of something.
It's hard. Yeah, that's a good size.
A loaf of bread? Smaller. Yeah, I don't know. We're chatting with David Vitale. He's the spokesperson for Jam, Jam Audio, those Bluetooth speakers that are fun and playful, with a new line called the Retro family. Now, are these speakers smart? I mean, some of the Amazon and Google ones are around this price range, and you can use your voice to summon a personal assistant and all that. But tell us about these retro speakers. Are they smart?
So the retro lineup, our goal was really to prioritize music. With most of our assortment, that's our priority, is we want to make sure music sounds great. That's our first and foremost priority. So while the retro line doesn't offer standalone access to assistants, you can still use your mobile phone connected to the retro line to access your assistant of choice. You get the same functionality you would from your mobile phone as a standalone.
So as long as your smartphone is with you, chances are it always is, then it's similar, but you just can't summon like a song with your voice without your phone nearby.
Correct.
Okay, got it. And where are they available? Is it online only, or if people are going to retail stores, given what's going on, are they able to pick it up there?
The best place to learn more is to visit jamaudio.com, and you'll see that they're starting at $29, $39, and $49.
Okay, so $29 for the Retro Classic, $39 for the Retro Classic Plus, and $49.99 for the Retro Vintage, which is the largest of the speakers, the loudest, the longest battery, and a couple of other bells and whistles, including the dial-up lights and so on. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay, David, thank you so much for your time. I can't wait to give these a spin myself. I love the retro look with the modern sound. That's a great tagline as well. Thank you.
Thanks, Mark. Appreciate your time.
When we return on Tech It Out, we'll wrap things up with a discussion surrounding smart home tech. We are spending a lot more time indoors, so I'll go through 5 or 6 cool items that caught my eye. We'll be right back after this.
Follow Mark Saltzman on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram. Listen to Tech It Out whenever you want.
So as I mentioned earlier in the show, I was on TV this week talking about some smart home tech, and I thought I'd share a few of those items with you now, as we are spending a lot more time at home this fall, let's face it. And next week I'll share a few others, but these are devices that can help you save money or save time or add more convenience to your life at home or more security. They each can do something a little bit differently. So without further ado, let me get to them. I first started outside of the home with the Schlage Encode Smart Wi-Fi deadbolt. So as the name suggests, this is a deadbolt for your front door or back door if you like. And there's several ways to use it. You can use a mechanical key, of course, but that's not newsworthy. You can use an app. So if you have an app on your phone and you can open the door that way. You can type in a code. There's a numeric keypad on there. It's a touch-sensitive keypad, so it can store up to 100 codes, which I'll get to in a moment. Or if you're inside and you have a smart speaker, you can actually use your voice to unlock the front door, which is very handy. If someone came over and they texted you they're on the driveway, you can just open the door with your voice if you're, say, washing the dishes or something. But what I really like about this is that you can text or email someone a temporary code, a virtual key, to let someone in, like a housekeeper or a babysitter if they're coming on, say, a Thursday night from 6 till 10 p.m. or something. And you can make it a temporary code as well. It doesn't have to be permanent. And there's a lot of options there. So it's called the Schlage & Code Smart Wi-Fi Deadbolt 4212. And then I talked about Flow by Moen Smart Water Shutoff. So this connects to your home's main water supply. It's a little blue and black doohickey that does connect to your water supply, and it can monitor flow, pressure, and temperature of the water in your home. So it can let you know on an app if someone, for example, left the water running, say a tap is running for a long time, or if there's a leak or a burst pipe, something froze or it broke and there's water coming into your basement. This will automatically shut off your water supply for you if it detects a problem and then notifies you on the app anywhere in the world. How cool is that? Again, it's called the Flow by Moen Smart Water Shutoff. It's $483, and many home insurance companies will give you a discount if you have this. I know mine offered me 10% off my home insurance if I had this installed. As you can imagine, water issues are the number one insurance claim. Then I talked about the first smart printer. It's called the HP Tango. This is a smart printer for 3 reasons. You can print from anywhere. So imagine you're walking around the block and you realize, oh no, I forgot to print that book report for school or that sales report for the office. You can actually do that from your phone, even if you're not at home, and your printer at home will print it out for you, which you can get when you walk in the door. Or imagine gifting this to an aging parent or grandparent, and whenever there's pictures of the kids or grandkids, you take it on your phone, send it to the printer, and it prints for them automatically wherever they are. Love that. Secondly, at home, you can use your voice to print. You can ask for something like, coloring pages. If you've got little ones you need to entertain on a rainy Sunday afternoon, you can use your voice to have this HP Tango print out pages. And then finally, it works with the Instant Ink service, so it can automatically order more ink to your door if it detects it's running low. I love that. All right, it's $179 for the HP Tango, which lets you print from your phone, your tablet, your computer, or your voice. Next up, I talked about the Wiz connected smart lights. Now, these are high quality but affordable smart lights for your home. They join your Wi-Fi. You don't need any other hardware. And there's a few different lights in the family. There's the Wiz Focus A19 color bulb, which screws into a regular A19 slot. And there's 16 million colors that you can change. I'll tell you how in a moment. There's the Wiz LED light strip as well, which are very trendy. My teens love that. And then once you've got the smart lights installed, there's many ways to control them. There's an app. There's your voice. If you have a smart speaker, you can ask to turn it on and change to a specific color. There's an optional remote. You can set timers and schedules to help save you money, like have the lights come on or off at certain times of the day. Or if you're not at home, but you want the lights to come on when it gets dark so it looks like you're home, you can set that all up. And they are LEDs, so they sip rather than gulp electricity. And again, these are affordable smart lights. So the Wiz Connected family starts at just $20 for the single colored pack, and that's great. Next up, for all of those trying to work at home, it can be embarrassing if you've got missed or dropped calls. So you may want to consider a cellular booster. Depending on where you live, I hear from friends who live in certain pockets, certain neighborhoods that say that their reception is terrible. So SureCall has the Fusion for Home solution. It's billed as the most powerful cell phone signal booster on the market for homes and cottages, in fact. And it is ideal for working at home to reduce dropped calls or lost calls. And it works with calls, text, and data up to 5,000 square feet. So it's both an indoor and outdoor solution, and once it's set up, it works great regardless of the carrier you're with. It costs $379 for the SureCall Fusion for Home. So as you can see, no shortage of smart home gear, just as we're spending a lot more time at home, and I'll share a few more suggestions next week as well. Hey, thank you for tuning in to Tech It Out, everyone, powered by ASUS. For those in search of incredible, have a safe and productive week ahead. Good luck with your voting and be safe out there if you haven't done so by mail already. And I look forward to catching up with you next weekend on another episode of Tech It Out. Be well.